to Virgo,
Yeah.
which is a mutable earth sign, Mercury ruled. And yeah, why don't you start us off talking about Virgo?
I think of Virgos as the editors, highly detail-oriented people. They can see minutia in a way that other people can't. They are just attuned to just seeing really small things and seeing how big things are made up of many small things, and excellent at analyzing things. Their powers of analysis are unmatched. Well, they're an earth sign, so they're earthy, but I think of them as sensual, attuned to growing things in the garden, to some matters of home in the way that Cancer is, but more just stewards of things that grow, and healers in a way. They're very good at kind of caring for others and caring for their own bodies. They're very attuned to the details of their body and to grooming and just to details of all kinds. They're reliable, like many earth signs are. They're a reliable, gentle, kind of quiet earth sign. I think of them as the crafts people, the zodiac too. I mean, crafters of every sign, but they really are able to just slowly approach a problem and put it together or take it apart as it needs to be.
In terms of that archetype of the Virgin with Virgo, it is it's a very interesting archetype, because I think our modern conception of that has all kinds of associations with it, and so it can be an interesting symbol. I think of it as the way another astrologer taught it to me. I can't remember who it was to give this person credit, but this isn't my unique idea. But the idea of Virgo separates the wheat from the chaff. In ancient times, the virgin, the Vestal Virgin, were the women who were able to choose yes or no. Mm-hmm. So either you were a girl or you were a married woman. And virgins were adult women who weren't married, basically. And these were the only women in society who were allowed to have a choice. They could sort of say yes or no. So the empowerment behind it, which is very different than the way we in modern times conceive of that image of the Virgin. So I think that's interesting for Virgo. It's fun that you said that they were the editors of the zodiac, because I think of them as the list makers of the zodiac. So I feel like that really goes together, that detail-oriented, organized, clean, and they really enjoy it. They enjoy being organized. They enjoy being on top of things. They're very good at making things better, like on a practical level. Yeah. They can help you with practical things. A Virgo might not be great at going into the emotional depths of everything, but they will help you clean your house and get your act together. I feel that they are quite humble, which is a wonderful strength of Virgo. They sort of know their own strengths, which is another part of why they do things well. Responsible, yes, quite health conscious, and can be healers as well. Self-reliant, very diligent workers. And yeah, I like this idea of the craftsman, because it's almost like Virgo can both aims for mastery. They enjoy working toward mastery of something, but then also very detail-oriented as well. So that's the kind of mentality that can make you an amazing carpenter or something, for sure.
Propensity to be clean, both in their environment and in their body, and to take care of their bodies and be in tune, be fit or well groomed. I also think of Virgos is one of the surprising things I think that I've learned about Virgos over time, and not necessarily through direct experience, but just through talking to people, is that they have very developed sexual natures. Like, we think of Scorpio as the sexual sign, as like sort of the sexy Scorpio walking around. Like, Virgos have kind of sexuality, and sometimes people
totally see that for Virgo, connecting the dots on that and being like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, shadow side of Virgo. So their attunement to detail and their propensity to analysis and their great powers of analysis can also have a boomerang effect, in that they overanalyze things, right? And they over-criticize things, and they take things apart at times when it's not It's not constructive. You could think in a relationship when you're trying to pick apart someone's argument or their rationale, or you're being overly critical of something someone's given you to eat, or that it's a reflex with Virgo that is hard to turn off, I think, for Virgo energy. Analysis paralysis, just overanalyzing things and finding fault, and almost anything, because no one's perfect and nothing is perfect. And I don't think anyone knows that more than Virgo, that nothing is ever perfect. There's always flaws there. The flaws make the whole beautiful. But if you focus on the flaws to the exclusion of the whole, that can be counterproductive to whether it's relationship or something else.
Like almost not being able to see the forest through the trees.
Yeah, kind of an aversion to self-assertion sometimes. The Virgo seems like it exists in the space, and they have a hard time asserting themselves when it could be warranted in the way that a fire sign might. And that would be an aversion to taking risks as well, but which might, we all have to take risks at times. And the other note I had here was, because of that reliable, that logical way of thinking, abstract ideas and symbolism would be harder concepts for Virgos to wrap their heads around. Symbolic systems, synchronicity, I'm just thinking everything that's acausal, the symbolism, and not everything is empirical. And I think for Virgos, it's, the world is just mechanistic.
So many good things there.
How about for you, for shadow side of Virgo?
Exactly. Virgo, I feel like Virgo can, the energy can feel like it's hard on other people. And I guess in some ways it can sort of seem like Virgo can be a bit critical. But I think that really they're hardest on themselves. It is coming from that attention to detail and the being into all the steps that are required, and maybe having a little bit of a hard time almost achieving in certain ways because they can be so hard on making sure everything is done to such a high standard. They fear messing up and making a mistake. And I think also that need to be in control can hold them back. It can be difficult for them to kind of go with the flow. Like, I feel like the Virgo energy sometimes can be easily overwhelmed because it likes to be so tenacious and on top of everything. And because of those high standards, it can be hard sometimes just to keep it moving forward. But I guess that's perfectionism is sort of a way to say that.
Yeah.
I also think that Virgo can sort of be like private to a fault, keeping those emotions and them feelings to themselves to a fault, routinized to a fault, very sensitive to criticism from others because of that high standard that they set for themselves and how much they really want to do a good job and attend to everything. That's basically all I have for Virgo. Shadow.
Yeah. I guess we go to highlight first, right? You had touched on one of one of the things you just said was my primary low light, but
do your highlight and your low light for Virgo.
Their precision, kind of their joy in making things precise. It's a fantastic quality that they own and that we need for practically everything. You always need someone to be attuned to the details. So that precision and accuracy, I feel is Virgo's superpower. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that the shadow side or their low light is what you touched on is perfectionism. Making something perfect is elusive. It's almost an impossible task in most situations. So that search for perfection can be endless, and it can take a lot of energy, and it's infinite, right? So that perfectionism can perhaps prevent Virgo from finishing things and putting them out into the world, or considering something finished or to their liking, and that can drive them crazy. So I'd say the perfectionism is the low light for Virgo.
Great. And mine are quite similar. My highlight is that dedicated, hardworking. Virgo is really good at a lot of things too. I said that Leo could get a lot done, but Virgo's diligence and their capabilities, just their sheer ability to do things well is pretty great too. That was my highlight for Virgo. And then my low light is the too hard on themselves. And I could have said maybe too hard on others, because they do see all those places where things aren't quite where they should be. But I think that really the hardest of it is the way that they see that, within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's a Virgo moon signature or a more emotional way that is expressing in your chart, for sure.
Right, right.